So we're out in the orchard now. We've planted this orchard, which is 88 hectares in size, over 4 stages. Stage 1 was, I think, is about 12 hectares, and then it goes on from there. We're more conventional, so we decided early days we'd go nonpareil, peerless, Carmel, and Carmel being at 33%, 16 peerless, peerless, and the rest non-pareil. Since then, a new variety, which is Shasta's, come on board, which has shown good results. So instead of having 2 Carmel in that pattern, we chopped that one out and put a Shasta Carmel peerless. See how that goes and go from there. So still conventional plantings. Our rows are 6.7 metres, and from an industry point of view, conventional harvesting equipment and all that, don't want to go much narrower than that, and it doesn't knock the gear around as much if you're out wider. 4 metre spacing. So all our orchard is on drip, because in my experience, drip with the fertigation and all that is a lot easier to get the fertiliser out to the trees. We also, as I said earlier, we do composting, so we've spread compost manure out through the orchard, and we've had good results there, not only from a tree point of view, but from soil moisture retention, basically humus built up in the ground. So the components we throw out, like I said before, is a balanced product, basically giving the tree what it needs. So potassium, nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium, plus trace. We still do a little bit of chemical-based fertilisers when we see that there's, like, one picture doesn't necessarily mean we've got the prescription for that. So we monitor trees through the year, leaf tests and all that, and find out what we need to complement what we do, and add that as required. So like fertilisers, sprays, that sort of thing. So Nuleaf Organics sell chicken-based manures to cereal farmers, almond growers, vineyards, mushroom compost yards. So our customer base would be up around the 100 customers that we supply. We don't really do a lot in the almond industry yet. We do a reasonable amount into dry land, which is on the York Peninsula, mushroom farm and the vineyards. So they're our main group, and we do some big almond growers, which have been with us for, well, as old as me, nearly 50 years. They've been with Dad and now me, so it's pretty proud of that, really, because it means that we've got a product there that has evolved on the journey, but also stayed with that industry. We use this probably as a test bench for the rest of the industry, trying to work out what product fits the best. Early days, it was just manure underneath the tree, with salmonella scares and all that. The almond industry had to go away from that, so that's when we turned to compost. Chicken shed hygiene and all that, from that fertiliser point of view, we had to educate the chicken growers, so no glass and all that, rocks, weed seeds, so all that's to a minimum. When we go through the composting process, we also screen it for the almond industry. The reason being is if it's too cloddy, it's got stains in, almond industry doesn't like that. So we screen it. Clods takes a long time to break down and ends up in the packing shed or the hulling shed. That's no good. So we minimise that by doing what we do. Basically doing a screen product compost yard, and then we spread it out using a spreader, which chop it up as well as fine as we can. So by harvest, we'll put that out in May, June, July, and by harvest, all that stuff's broken down, you can barely see it. From an organic point of view, now we're not organic by any means, but from an organic point of view, we're in the Murray Mallee, which is South Australia. the soils in this area are very sterile. Like, in other words, just gritty sand, low carbon content, so up around the 0.3s to 0.6 carbon content in the soil. So, which means that number one, it doesn't hold water; it just lets it through. It doesn't hold nutrients; it just lets it through. So by introducing products, which is chicken manure with shavings / straw in it, introduces more carbon in the soil, builds it up, so the soil holds moisture, the soil holds fertiliser. So from a tree point of view, in raw sand, it's very hard to put chemical-based fertilisers around the root zone and expect it to stay there. It'll either flush, it flushes through. So this is where I think the compost in time will complement if we need to use chemical-based fertilisers through the injection, like the drippers, to hold that around the roots. With the chicken manure, we've sort of seen accelerated growth in the tree, so more spurs, bigger tree, quicker. Now that is kind of hurts you in a way, because you've got to look after the tree so they don't break in the first 4 or 5 years. We have had breaks out here because we grew them too quick, but saying that, if you do an offset from break to the yield that we get earlier, I think it's well worth doing. Like what we're doing now is well worth doing. So, and I'll continue to do it. Yeah, so hopefully we get healthy trees, which is what we're seeing to date. Which healthy tree generally doesn't have, like, a good balanced healthy tree doesn't get diseases, doesn't get all this other stuff. So it still will get it to a degree, but yeah, hopefully less. So that's why we've done what we've done down that path. So, and we've got the trucks and we can do it. So yeah. Okay, we're just coming into Buttswell just before we put bees in. Probably the jobs this time of the year is obviously put bees through the orchard in 3 or 4 weeks, and also we'll go through a reasonably complex, I guess, dripper maintenance program, making sure everything's right for the new season. Apart from that, really, we don't do a hell of a lot. All our sprays, like we do the oil sprays and all that earlier on, yes, just put the bees in and then work out what the tree needs after that.